Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start with a new chapter of class 11th biology. The name of the chapter is Animal Tissues. The main objectives that we will cover today in this video includes epithelial tissue, types of epithelial tissue, functions of epithelial tissue, and cell junctions in epithelial cells. Before proceeding with the topic epithelial tissue, we must know what is animal tissue. A multicellular organism has millions of cells. These cells of a particular type assemble together and perform a specific function. These groups of cells having similar structure and functions are called tissues. Various tissues often group together and form a large functional unit called organs. Number of organs work together in a coordinated manner and forms an organ system. A complex organism is a result of the cooperative and integrative activities of all these various organ systems. From here, we can conclude that tissue is a group of specialized cells together with the extracellular substance performing a specific function. The individual cells in a tissue are surrounded by an extracellular or intracellular fluid. The nature and amount of this fluid varies from tissue to tissue. The extracellular fluid binds the cells of a tissue together. In some tissues, it may be present in large amount, while in others, it may be negligible. The cells which are separated by a negligible amount of extracellular fluid are held together by cell junctions, which could be in the form of desmosomes or intracellular bridges. There are various kinds of animal tissues. Mainly, they are categorized into 4 different types that includes epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue, and nervous tissue. We will discuss all these types of tissues in detail one by one. Let's start with the first kind of animal tissue, that is epithelial tissue. The cells in the epithelial tissue are tightly packed together with very little intercellular matrix. As already discussed, here intercellular matrix is less, so cell junctions will be present. Because the tissue form covering and lining, the cells have one free surface that is not in contact with other cells, and this is called apical surface of epithelial cells. Opposite to the free surface, the cells are attached to underlying connective tissue by a non-cellular basement membrane. This membrane is a mixture of carbohydrates and proteins secreted by the epithelial and connective tissue cells. The cells are not supplied with blood vessels, hence obtain nutrient by diffusion from lymph, present in intracellular spaces. Here, the free surface may be modified into cilia, stereocilia, or microvilli. If we talk about the location and function of epithelial tissue, they cover all the internal and external surfaces of the body and the body organs. They line the body cavities, the cavities of hollow body organs like stomach, intestine, etc., and various ducts. They also form the inner lining of blood vessels, though it is not considered as true epithelium. They are basically protective in function, though some may be secretory, absorptive, or excretory in function. The major function is to act as a barrier between exterior and interior of the body and between two internal and external environment of the body. The free surface of the epithelium is modified to carry out functions that occur at these interfaces, including secretion, absorption, and movement of luminal content. Cilia. These are hair-like thin, mobile, protoplasmic extensions that can move to and fro to entrap the particles and move them in specific direction parallel to the surface of epithelium. The cells have basal granule in the cytoplasm. Ciliated epithelium includes ciliated pseudostratified columnar respiratory epithelium and the ciliated simple columnar epithelium of the oviduct. Then is microvilli. These are short, thin, closely packed invaginations of the plasma membrane giving brush-bordered appearance. They do not have the basal granule. They increases the surface area for absorption. This is present as absorptive simple columnar epithelium lining the small intestines and absorptive simple cuboidal epithelium lining the proximal tubule of the kidney. Then is stereocilia. Stereocilias are the elongated non-motile protoplasmic extensions that are broad at the base and taper at the top. They do not have basal granule. They are found in the male reproductive tract where they have an absorptive function, and in the internal ear where they have a sensory function. Epithelial tissue is further classified into two main categories that include simple and stratified. Simple epithelium is the epithelium which is composed of a single layer of cells, whereas stratified epithelium or compound epithelium is made up of more than one layer of cells. Simple epithelium is further categorized into different types on the basis of shape of cells. Similarly, stratified is also classified on the basis of shape of cells. Now, let's discuss various types of epithelium in detail. Simple epithelium. As already discussed, it is a single layer of cells with every cell in direct contact with basement membrane that separates it from underlying connective tissue. In general, it is found where absorption and filtration occur. The thinness of epithelial barrier facilitates these processes. On the basis of structural modifications of the cells, simple epithelium could be of various types. Firstly, it is simple squamous. It consists of a single layer of flattened cells. Margins of the squamous cells are irregular. You can see here it is having irregular shaped cells that occurs as tiles on the floor, also known as pavement epithelium. It comprises lining of body cavities, cardiovascular and lymphatic system, surfaces of coelom, body cavity, nasal cavity, alveolar lining of the lungs and Bowman's capsule of the kidney. The main function of this simple squamous epithelium is protection, absorption, diffusion and filtration. The next type is of simple cuboidal epithelium. It consists of a single layer of cells that are roughly square in shape when cut in cross section. Each cell has a spherical nucleus in the center. It forms the lining of many ducts and tubules of the body. The main function of simple cuboidal epithelium is of secretion and absorption. Example, kidney. Cuboidal epithelium is commonly found in secretive or absorptive tissues, for example, exocrine gland, lining of kidneys, in the ducts of gland, and germinal epithelium, that is lining of ovary and testis. Then is simple columnar epithelium. The cells of columnar epithelium appears rectangular in vertical section and polygonal in surface view. In keeping with the shape of the cell, the nuclei are also frequently elongated. The surface of the columnar epithelium is sometimes covered with microvilli, which are arranged regularly to form brush-bordered epithelium. The cells of the columnar epithelium have a secretory and absorptive function. They mainly forms the lining of stomach and intestine. Some columnar cells are specialized for sensory reception, such as in the nose, ear and the taste buds of the tongue. Goblet cells are found between the columnar epithelial cells of duodenum. Then is pseudo-stratified epithelium. As the word suggests, pseudo means false. So these are simple columnar epithelial cells whose nuclei appears at different heights, giving the misleading impression that the epithelium is stratified. You can see here the nuclei are present at different height. When these cells are viewed in cross section, it appears that there are many layers, but it is actually a single layer. They are found in the lining of respiratory tract, urinary tract, vas deferentia and epididymis. Pseudostratified epithelium also possess fine hair-like extensions of their apical membrane called cilia. In this case, the epithelium is described as ciliated pseudostratified epithelium. Ciliated epithelium is found in airways, that is nose, trachea and bronchi, and uterus fallopian tubes of the females. Then is stratified epithelium. It is much thicker than simple epithelial tissue. This type is composed of several layers of cells of various shapes representing newly formed matured cells. The innermost layer mainly contains columnar cells, cuboidal cells, which are germinative in nature and they grow towards the surface. They become more flattened as they go above. It is of two types, non-keratinized epithelium and keratinized epithelium. Stratified cuboidal epithelium. Here, the outermost layer consists of cuboidal cells. The innermost layer consists of germinative cells. This tissue forms the lining of ducts of gland, the conjunctiva of eye, the lining of sweat glands, female urethra, and some parts of the anal canal. If we talk about its function, it helps in movement of nutrients and increases absorption. It also protects against pathogens or bacteria. Stratified columnar epithelium. It is also uncommon in the body. Usually, the basal layer consists of shortened, irregularly polyhedral cells. Only the superficial cells are columnar in form. It is located in the lining of vasa differentia, male urethra, trachea, and bronchi. It helps in protection and secretion. Next is transitional epithelium. This tissue is composed of several layers of large, round, or pear-shaped cells. The superficial cells are larger and are more rounded, while basal layer consists of cuboidal cells. They are located in urinary bladder and ureter, and it helps in expansion of the organs. Next is glandular epithelium. Some epithelial cells are specialized to perform secretory functions. These cells, singly or in groups, form glands. Glands are composed of cuboidal and columnar epithelium and are specialized for secretion. They secrete enzymes, hormones, mucus, etc. Based on the number of cells, glands are of two types, unicellular glands and multicellular glands. Unicellular gland consists of individual cell which is modified into glandular cell. For example, goblet cell. Multicellular glands consist of number of glandular cells which are aggregated to form a single gland. Types of glands. Glands are basically classified into two main categories, exocrine glands and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands are the glands that pour their secretions onto the epithelial surface directly through ducts. These glands are also known as externally secreting glands or the glands with duct. Histologically, a gland is composed of two parts, secretory portion that contains the cells responsible for secretory process and a system of ducts that helps to transport the secretion to exterior of the gland. These glands are further classified into three main categories. The first one is merocrine or exocrine glands. These glands are the glands whose secretions are directly thrown out of the cells by the process of simple diffusion or exocytosis. The cells remains intact. For example, sweat gland, salivary gland, and intestinal glands. Apocrine glands. In apocrine glands, the apical part of the cells are shed off to discharge secretion, for example, mammary glands. Then is holocrine glands. Holocrine glands are those glands where the entire cell disintegrates while discharging its secretions, for example, sebaceous glands. According to the duct system, exocrine glands are further of two types, simple and compound. Simple exocrine glands are the glands in which ducts are not branched, whereas compound glands are the glands in which a branching duct system is present. According to the secretory portion, these exocrine glands are further classified into three types. In tubular, the shape of the secretory portion is a tube shape. For example, glands of intestine and stomach. Then is acinar or alveolar. Here, the secretory portion is flask shaped with narrow centrally placed lumen. For example, pancreas, parotid, salivary glands. The last category is of tubuloacinar glands. It is a combination of tube ends with a sac-like dilation. For example, submandibular and sublingual salivary glands. As in case of epithelial tissue, intracellular matrix is less, so they are provided with cell junctions. A cell junction is a multi-protein complex that provides contact between neighboring cells or between the cells and extracellular matrix. There are four types of cell junctions present in the epithelial cells, that includes tight junctions, gap junctions, anchoring junctions and adhering junctions. Tight junctions. Tight junctions act as a barrier to regulate the movement of molecules from one cell to another through extracellular spaces by diffusion or active transport. They are present on the lateral surfaces of the epithelial cells. They can be tighter with high electrical resistance or leakier with low electrical resistance. Then is gap junctions. Gap junctions are also known as communicating junctions. They allow the cytoplasmic connection between the two neighboring cells without the involvement of extracellular fluid. The connexins proteins form a cylindrical structure between the two lateral surfaces of two adjacent epithelial cells. The cylindrical structure with pores is called as connexin. Its main role is to allow the free movement between the cells of ions and small molecules. Next is anchoring junctions. Anchoring junctions are made of anchoring proteins which links the cytoskeleton of one cell to the cytoskeleton of another cell or to the extracellular matrix. The adhering junctions and desmosomes are present on the lateral surfaces of two epithelial cells, while the hemidesmosomes are present on the basolateral surfaces. Adhering junctions. Adhering junctions consist of actin and cadherin protein filaments. Because actin is a contractile protein, the adhering junctions are also responsible for the change in the shape of the sheets of the cells. These junctions are meant to hold epithelial cells together. Then is desmosomes, are, which are made up of intermediate filament composed of keratin and desmin. Cadherin acts as a transmembrane linker. Desmosomes are specialized to hold cells tightly together. The last one is hemidesmosomes, that forms a bridge between the epithelial cells and the extracellular matrix on the basolateral surface. They have intermediate filaments as the cytoskeleton anchors and integrins as the transmembrane linkers. I think the topic of epithelium tissue is clear to you people. Thank you everyone.